YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 125, 666, Yu Yaozi's Proposal. 125th of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The Demon Kingdom lay in the southern reaches of the 100 Realms of the Living. Beyond the Demon Kingdom, continuing south, stretched a chaotic region where life realms and nether realms intertwined, like sunlight filtering through leaves to create dappled shadows on the ground. This chaotic zone was the remnant battlefield of a cataclysmic war fought 1,000 years ago, where the combined forces of the 100 Realms of the Living, humans, rice people, and other living beings, halted the advance of the dead spirits and the forces of darkness. Within this chaotic region were scattered over a dozen life realms. The largest, the Calamity Crossing Realm, ranked as the foremost mid-sized life realm among the 6 major ones, and housed the Calamity Crossing Temple. The influence of the Calamity Crossing Temple permeated every life realm within the chaotic zone. From the grand living realm royal courts, the ancient sects, and the ancient clans, to the humblest martial mystic cultivators, warriors, and soldiers, the temple's shadow loomed over nearly every source of the martial mystic Tao. The sole exception was the Holy Hall's life realm. The Holy Hall's life realm stood remotely in the southwestern corner of the Demon Kingdom and the Calamity Crossing Temple's sphere of influence, separated from the Demon Kingdom's southern wilderness by a vast, 10,000-mile-wide nether realm. For millennia, this narrow strip of nether realm had been fortified with a formation Great Wall, its construction following the natural contours of mountains and rivers, to guard against the resurgence of the army of the dead. This was the southern high wall of the 100 Realms of the Living, and also the training ground for the Demon Kingdom army. Half a year ago, light had returned to this place. The Demon Kingdom army crossed the formation Great Wall, war chariots and colossal beasts advancing together, banners obscuring the sky, and horns blaring incessantly as they marched toward the Holy Hall's life realm border. Their killing intent coalesced into a dark, oppressive nether cloud. Atop a treacherous mountain ridge where the formation Great Wall stood, a formidable human race fortress built from massive stones loomed. Its transcendent eyes could simultaneously survey the Holy Hall's life realm's mountain ranges and the Demon Kingdom's southern desert wilderness. Within the fortress's grand hall, a fierce argument erupted. Bang! Bang! Lu Tianqian slammed his fist heavily on the table, his voice grave. The army of the dead and the darkness of the nether realm have already devoured 4 provinces of the Holy Hall's life realm. Hundreds of millions of our people have been killed, wounded, or displaced. Now, more fallen spirit powerhouses are gathering relentlessly, their next target the Holy Hall's life realm's heartland. Once the Holy Hall's life realm falls completely, the Demon Kingdom will be next. Your internal strife and chaos have turned your kingdom upside down. Can you even defend the Great Wall formation? Without the Holy Hall's life realm acting as a nail pinning down the enemy beyond the Great Wall, how many times greater would the pressure on you be? A life realm lord declared, once the army of the dead breaches the formation Great Wall, they will have a clear view of the entire 100 Realms of the Living. Prime Minister Zhuo Tianqing of the Holy Dynasty pondered gravely, the nether realm of the dead is essentially a disorganized rabble, plagued by constant infighting. However, if we allow them to conquer the Holy Hall's life realm, taste victory, and rapidly consolidate their power, it would spell utter disaster. We must crush them before they gain momentum, or we'll regret it too late, another life realm lord added. The 3 demon ministers of the Demon Kingdom stood impassively in the hall, weathering the verbal onslaught from the life realm lords with unwavering composure. The Void Ruins ancient clan patriarch struck the ground heavily with his jade-inlaid staff, his voice deep and resonant. Yu Baxian, facing his own imminent demise, seeks to drag us all into the abyss to accompany him in death. Curved Bridge Monk Ku Chaozeng, one of the 3 demon ministers, was a bald elder covered in demonic tattoos, his narrow eyes radiating an aura of sinister malice. Clan Chief, you would do well to show more respect to the demon monarch. Otherwise, your name will certainly be added to the list of those to be buried with him. As soon as these words were spoken, a chill swept through the hall, and everyone grew much calmer. A martial mystic Tao Heavenly Emperor nearing the end of his lifespan would no longer be bound by any rules or regulations of the world. He would become more terrifying than any living creature, and nothing he might do would be surprising. 9-part dragon Zhou Fun Long, the leader of the 3 great demon ministers, was an aberrant humanoid martial mystic cultivator who followed the path of dragon transformation. 9-part dragon, Zhou Fun Long, was the title of respect given to him by demonic cultivators throughout the world, for he was only 1 part away from achieving complete dragon transformation. Now that 9-part dragon could manifest a normal human appearance, it undoubtedly meant he was on the verge of completing his dragon transformation and becoming a true martial mystic Tao Heavenly Emperor. Having lived for millennia in the form of an aberrant humanoid, he naturally sought the utmost perfection in his restored human appearance. His physique was magnificent, his muscles sculpted and balanced, and his face was youthful with sharply defined features and clear, distinct lines. The demon monarch's conditions are not unreasonable, Nine-Part Dragon said slowly, his imposing aura pressing down on the Void Ruins ancient clan patriarch. If the Void Ruins ancient clan hands over the Spring of Life, we will immediately withdraw our troops and even allow the armies of the various life realms to pass through the demon kingdom to provide support. The Void Ruins ancient clan patriarch was no fool. He knew Yu Baxian's burning desire for the Void Ruins ancient kingdom. If Yu Baxian succeeded in prolonging his life, his ambition would only grow stronger. Therefore, he declared, I've said it countless times, there is no Spring of Life. It might have existed during the Empress's reign, but it was plundered during the war 20,000 years ago. If Yu Baxian seeks the Spring of Life, he should ask Emperor Ji, the Void Ruin Ghost Emperor, or the Flying Phoenix. Then there's no choice but to wait for the Holy Hall's life realm to transform into the Dark Nether Realm, Nine-Part Dragon said, unfazed by the furious glares of the Void Ruins ancient clan patriarch and the sect leaders of the Holy Hall's life realm's three ancient sects. The demon monarch needs billions of units of blood chi and soul food. Even among transcendents, vast differences in power existed. Outside the hall, Yu Yaozi's voice echoed from the distant void, if the demon kingdom wants the Spring of Life, what can it offer in return? Whoosh. A figure as breathtakingly beautiful as an immortal materialized before the hall's entrance, casting a long, inverted shadow. Her aura was overwhelming as she hurled a transcendent bonehead into the hall. The heavy transcendent bonehead crashed into the hall with a resounding crack, sending Fisher's spider webbing across the floor. Nine-Part Dragon turned to the figure standing outside the door. If the Void Ruins ancient kingdom provides the Spring of Life, and the demon kingdom sends troops to assist us in fighting the army of the dead, we can discuss terms. Upon hearing this, hesitation flickered in the eyes of the Void Ruins ancient clan patriarch. Compared to the life and death of their clan and an entire life realm, surrendering the Spring of Life seemed a reasonable price. But the fear lingered, once the demon kingdom army was invited, they might never leave. Worse still, their insatiable greed might demand more. Yu Yaozi strode into the hall, her footsteps heavy as thunder, her murderous aura still thick. The Spring of Life has vanished, but the life-preserving spring remains in my possession. The life-preserving spring can also prolong life. The gazes of the demon kingdom's three demon ministers all turned to her. How could Yu Baxian not covet the life-preserving spring? However, Yu Yaozi was no easy target, and the Zhenhai Guanwu's whereabouts remained unknown. Standing at the center of the hall, Yu Yaozi's eyes shone like cold stars, her figure enveloped in glazed radiant hues. I propose a suggestion. Convey this message to Yu Baxian. The Lingxiao Palace, as the ruler of the Void Ruins ancient kingdom, will participate in the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition. Our wager for the Ascension competition will be the life-preserving spring. The condition is this, the demon kingdom must immediately withdraw behind the Great Wall formation and grant safe passage to reinforcements from all life realms. For the next millennium, you must not encroach upon the Void Ruins ancient kingdom or the Holy Hall's life realm. Furthermore, you must swear that if you break this oath, all of the human emperors will personally execute them. Whether you can claim the life-preserving spring depends entirely on the capabilities of your demon kingdom's younger generation. Zhuo Tianqing's expression shifted subtly. Yu Yaozi's move was a masterstroke, achieving multiple objectives at once. If this agreement could force the demon kingdom to retreat and save the Holy Hall's life realm, the Lingxiao Palace's claim to the Void Ruins ancient kingdom would no longer appear as opportunistic plunder, but rather as a timely act of benevolence. After the war ends, should the Void Ruins ancient clan and the three ancient sects betray their allegiance, they would be branded as ingrates. The only thing that puzzled Zhuo Tianqing was the demon kingdom's overwhelming advantage in the younger generation's strength, at least 10 times greater than that of the Lingxiao Palace and the Holy Hall's life realm combined. Offering the life-preserving spring as a wager seemed no different from giving it away for free. Yu Yaozi's terms weren't particularly harsh, and Zhuo Tianqing couldn't imagine Yu Baxian refusing them. The three demon ministers were overjoyed by this unexpected breakthrough in the negotiations. Nine-Part Dragon remained calm, pondering Yu Yaozi's true motives. If the demon kingdom seizes the jade tome of the life-preserving spring during the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition, and you renege on your promise, what then? He asked. This palace master will naturally swear an oath to the human emperor to join in their destruction. Jade Yaozi declared, besides, this grand assembly is presided over by the martial mystic Dao heavenly emperors, convened to resolve conflicts. Who would dare trifle with them? It seems you have unwavering confidence in the younger generation of the Void Ruins ancient clan, Nine-Part Dragon observed. He suspected that over the past century, the Void Ruins ancient clan had leveraged resources from the Void Ruins ancient kingdom, such as the Nether Domain, to cultivate a vast number of young martial mystic prodigies. This, he believed, was the source of Yu Yaozi's confidence, emboldening her to make such a daring gamble. Without further deliberation, he unleashed his willpower, dispatching messengers to relay the news to Xiaoyao capital with utmost urgency. Before long, Yu Baxian's message talisman returned to the Great Wall formation. He hadn't fully accepted Yu Yaozi's terms, seeing through her ambition to seize control of the Holy Hall's life realm. Instead, he offered the Void Ruins ancient clan an irresistible proposal. He wanted both the life-preserving spring and the spring of life. The vast lands surrounding Chun City, stretching 10,000 miles, had been completely restored to light, transforming into a vibrant life realm. Yu Yaozi possessed only a single page of the Book of Radiant Stars. After activating it several times, its luminous energy had nearly dissipated, requiring a prolonged period to reabsorb the starlight of the sun, moon, and stars. More than half a year later, Li Wei returned to Chun City, leading the Zhu Li clan out of Chun's and finally lifted their perception seals. Heavens! Is that Void Ruins? How could it have fallen to the ground? Its radiance is extraordinary. Meditating to absorb it would surely transform our psychic radiance. Is that the Nether Domain the Divine Hidden One spoke of? The entire world is shrouded in a pale blue mist. Everyone observed this novel world with wonder, some filled with joy, others with longing. Yao Qingshan transformed into a streak of light, darting straight into the Nether Domain. She paused beneath a tree, meticulously sensing the shifting energies between the inner and outer realms. Whoosh! Xingyuanu's figure streaked across the waterway dividing the eastern and western cities. She glanced at Li Wei and the Zhu Li clan members with surprise, suppressing her elation as she asked, "Are the Zhu Li clan also relocating to the Void Ruins ancient kingdom?" "No, just these people. You're the third palace master's disciple. Arrange their accommodations," Li Wei replied. "All right, leave it to me." Xingyuanu was herself a hidden one elder of the Zhu Li clan. After a brief exchange with Li Songgu, she led the way, guiding the dozens of Zhu Li clan members into the Nether Domain. Though only half a year had passed outside, several years had elapsed within the Nether Domain. Li Wei secretly observed the changes in Chun City. Construction was in full swing, the city beginning to take shape. Various resources flowed in steadily through teleportation formations or were transported from the rainforest living realm. The land outside the city walls, along the lakes and rivers, had been completely cultivated, forming vast stretches where multiple seasons of crops had already been planted and harvested. Standing atop the city walls, Li Wei gazed at the vibrant world before him, the bustling crowds, the thriving markets, and recalled the dim, dilapidated state of the city just half a year ago. A surge of joy welled up in his heart. This joy stemmed from his deep love for life and the satisfaction he derived from participating in its creation. The true essence of cultivation wasn't about combat, slaughter, or destruction. It should be about life, creation, and the relentless pursuit of the pinnacle of martial mystic path. This path, of course, was fraught with twists, turns, and immense challenges. "Junior brother, what are you looking at?" Zhe Shantong, appearing as a perpetually youthful boy of 15 or 16, materialized behind Li Wei. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel: The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 126, 667, The Third Palace Master and Her Consort. 126th of Volume 6. Translator: Shadow Knight AK. Editor: Shadow Knight AK. Zhe Shantong, wearing a jade crown, possessed clear and refined features and a gentle smile that radiated warmth and comfort. "Who's your junior brother? Stop shouting nonsense." Li Wei let out a soft, "Hm." Before exclaiming in surprise, "Old Zhe, you've broken through to Immortal Realm. Your cultivation speed is truly heaven-defying." Zhe Shantong's smile vanished, as if Li Wei had slapped him hard across the face. "You've already reached the third realm, why can't I break through to Immortal Realm? I've been cultivating in the Nether Domain for 10 years, you know. I have the Sun-Moon dual pupils and I've mastered the Void meditation technique." The Zhenhai Guanwu had once investigated Zhe Shantong's Sun-Moon dual pupils. His moon pupil was revealed to be the other shore heavenly core of the Holy Infant. The Holy Infant's cultivation was so formidable that even Yu Yaozi at her peak couldn't kill it. The value of its other shore heavenly core was immeasurable, offering unparalleled assistance to cultivation, far surpassing the worth of mere dragon soul origin light. As for Zhe Shantong's sun pupil, the Zhenhai Guanwu claimed its origins were even more profound than those of the moon pupil. He was Yu Yaozi's true heir to the Dao technique. Impressive. At this rate, you'll soon catch up to Tang Wanzhou. She reached the immortal realm only slightly younger than you. Li Wei's praise was genuine. After all, his own current cultivation realm was the result of years of arduous training within the cocoon of time. Zhe Shantong crossed his arms behind his back and shook his head gently. She's far ahead of me. She doesn't possesses the dragon seed, or the chi of the six-clawed immortal dragon, and not the sun-moon dual pupils. But don't get too complacent. Now that I've reached the immortal realm, I've dispelled the multiple seals on the holy infant's other shore heavenly core and gained the nether domain's blessing. If you two slack off, don't blame me when I surpass you. Li Wei smiled sincerely. It would be great if you can catch up. It'll add some excitement to my martial mystic path. Zhe Shantong gave him a deep look. Li Wei, you have a unique charm. You know the secret of the sun-moon dual pupils, yet I feel no need to guard against you. It's as if I'll never have to worry about you plotting against me. But you're such a money grubber. I even nearly killed you once. Since you compensated me for the noodle shop's losses, how could I hold a grudge? Of course, if you feel guilty, I'd gladly accept one of your eyes as atonement, Li Wei replied. Come, I'll introduce you to some people. Zhe Shantong led Li Wei down from the city wall. They leapt through the air, one ahead of the other, heading toward the secluded cultivation grounds of the Imperial Court's Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators. During their journey, Zhe Shantong asked, Did Master ever mention the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition to you? With the Holy Hall Life Realm facing a crisis of survival, the Grand Palace Master likely has no time for such trivial matters, Li Wei said, skeptical, do you really think you can participate in time? He doubted Zhe Shantong could sustain his cultivation in the nether domain. I'm certain Master has some grand plan, Zhe Shantong replied. She issued a decree long ago, sparing no expense or resources to cultivate Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators under 100 years old. Those who make it onto the Immortal Realm earthly ranking will receive substantial rewards, with promises of future appointments as prefects. Li Wei fell into deep thought. The 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition served as a means for resolving conflicts between the various realms of the 100 Realms of Life domain. Even the living realms within the Chaos Zone typically abstained, at most sending aid upon invitation, as Mo Duanfeng had done when inviting Li Wei. Yu Yaozi's decree was truly perplexing, leaving her motives shrouded in mystery. Through Zhe Shantong's connections, Li Wei met the three strongest Immortal Realm experts under 100 years old in Lingxiao Palace, Si Qi, Liang Shanyu, and Huo Zheng. The Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators of Lingxiao Palace were undoubtedly of exceptional caliber. At that time, the Imperial Court had access to a steady supply of immortality pills, sparing them the fate of Li Songgu, Zhuoqiu Ling, and Yao Qingshan, who had been stuck at the ninth heaven of the Dao Seed realm for years, forced to rely solely on their own efforts to break through. After introducing everyone, Zhe Shantong secretly whispered, Si Qi was the third palace master's favored consort from the previous Jiazi cycle. Liang Shanyu is a disciple of Duke Tai Shi, and Huo Zheng is the god of war in the military. Li Wei secretly observed them, sensing that all three possessed cultivation at the third immortal realm. Reaching this realm before the age of 100 virtually guaranteed a spot on the immortal realm earthly ranking. All three were cultivating in the nether domain, clearly aiming to ascend further. After exchanging pleasantries, a sparring match inevitably followed. Eager to witness the skill of the Imperial Court's top experts, Li Wei stepped forward to challenge Si Qi, the strongest among them. They moved outside the residential area to an open space protected by a defensive formation. Si Qi possessed striking features, yet his demeanor was utterly devoid of softness. He unleashed 7,000 inscription spiritual swords from his ancestral field, which began circling him. Brother Li, he said, as a true disciple of the ancient sect, I'm well aware of the gap between us. My 7 profound sword formation combines sword Dao and formation, which is personally guided by the third palace master. I'll strike with a single sword, be careful. Spiritual chi surged forth, coalescing into a cloud that enveloped the 7 swords. Whoosh! Whoosh! 3,500 formation scriptures materialized on the 7,000 inscription spirit swords, forming a circular formation plate, a top-tier low-grade spiritual formation. Si Qi activated both his battle sword and the formation simultaneously, unleashing a terrifying surge of power that even Li Wei's eyes lit up. With a resounding clang, the combined might of the 7 swords converged into a single, devastating strike aimed at Li Wei. Instead of blocking, Li Wei sidestepped, reappearing several meters away. Boom! The ground trembled as a deep, sword-carved trench appeared in the formation arena. Swish! Swish! Si Qi retracted his 7 swords, his brow furrowed. Brother Li, why didn't you block my strike? I refuse to believe you couldn't have. Li Wei nodded inwardly. No wonder the third palace master chose him, and he became the Imperial Court's top cultivator under 100 years old. He's no arrogant fool. He patiently explained, Mr. C, your strike possesses immense power, surpassing even many peak third immortal realm Tai Yin envoys and Xiaoyang guards. But its weakness is glaringly obvious. In a real battle, who would deliberately block such a strike? It's far wiser to evade its initial force, wait for your spiritual chi to be severely depleted from activating both the seven swords and the formation, and then deliver the fatal blow. Si Chi, clearly aware of the sword formation's flaws, offered no rebuttal. From now on, just call me Si Chi. In martial mystic cultivation, those who attain mastery first are considered senior. Exactly. No need for such formalities. Call me Huo Zheng, Brother Zheng, or A Zheng, whatever you prefer. Huo Zheng was a towering figure with dozens of scales adorning his chest and back. According to his own account, he had drunk the blood of ancient immortal giant beasts since childhood, and had also consumed the blood of flying dragons and the dragon blood from the remains of ancient immortal dragons. Yet he had not transformed into an aberrant humanoid, only experiencing minor distortions. Li Wei, never one for false modesty, said, actually, the three of you could cultivate a combined strike battle technique. Xian Yu is a third realm holy spiritual master proficient in formations, Brother Zheng's strength and physical defenses are extraordinary, and Si Chi's sword formation is formidable. If you coordinate skillfully, I doubt even the Heavenly Emperor's disciples at the same cultivation realm would stand much of a chance against you. The cluster of spiritual artifact halls of Lingxiao Palace stood atop a nearby mountain peak. The third palace master stood gracefully outside the halls, gazing down at the five figures in the formation practice grounds below. Her melodious voice, tinged with amusement, carried on the wind, as if I needed you to suggest this. I've already tailored a combined strike battle formation specifically for them. Li Wei, come see me. Li Wei glanced at Zhe Shantong, Si Chi, and the others. The third palace master only summoned you. Hurry along, it must be something good, Zhe Shantong said with a smile. Another group of martial mystic cultivators, alerted by Li Wei's arrival in Chun City, had witnessed the earlier exchange. Among them was Xiao Yu, the true disciple of the Pure Void sect, one of the Holy Hall Life Realm's three ancient sects. He had sparred with Mo Duanfeng, forcing Mo Duanfeng to unleash the first slash of his severing wind 7 slashes before finally defeating him. Xiao Yu was the strongest martial mystic cultivator in the Holy Hall Life Realm, second only to Nangong. To put this in perspective, Shu Dao King of the Xiaoyang Guard, who was at the same cultivation realm, could defeated by Mo Duanfeng without even drawing his sword. This demonstrated the extraordinary level of Xiao Yu's skill. Behind Xiao Yu, a female martial mystic cultivator from the Pure Void sect's third immortal realm chuckled. I know Si Chi's combat prowess well, he's no match for eldest brother. Li Wei's refusal to face his sword proves that rumors are always exaggerated. He's been praised to death by those sycophants. Even if he had blocked that sword, what then? Another Pure Void sect disciple remarked, eldest brother has already reached the fourth immortal realm, while Li Wei remains hopelessly distant from it. Xiao Yu said, the Grand Palace Master's Dao Technique successor is no mere pretender. Si Chi's sword formation's strongest strike is no simple matter, even at the same cultivation realm, I could only evade it. Abandoning his attempts to probe and befriend Li Wei, Xiao Yu addressed the assembled immortal realm martial mystic cultivators of the Pure Void sect. Continue your secluded cultivation. Every increment of improvement in your cultivation counts. Though the Holy Hall Life Realm doesn't participate in the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition, many major powers will offer exorbitant sums to hire us as mercenaries. We can seize this opportunity to demand they send troops to aid the Holy Hall Life Realm. Eldest brother is right, a disciple agreed, we must contribute in our own way. The Lin Terrace Great Hall of Lingxiao Palace, relocated from Lingxiao City, was a masterpiece of carved jade balustrades, gemstone paved floors, and pillars and beams of extravagant opulence. Bathed in the moonlight of countless years, its resplendent glow radiated an aura of supreme majesty. The third palace master, clad in a rainbow-hued robe with phoenix feather-like hems, her hair piled high in an elaborate bun, and her jade-like skin gleaming, led the way, leaving a trail of intoxicating fragrance. She guided Li Wei into the hall and dismissed all attendants. This third palace master possessed neither the imposing presence of a powerful cultivator nor the cold severity of a stern leader. Instead, she exuded youthful vibrancy and an eccentric charm. Yet Li Wei tensed, about to speak. The third palace master settled into the wide phoenix-carved throne, leaning languidly with a faint, rippling smile. Her bright eyes, veiled in a misty haze, spoke first, why so nervous? I'm just asking a few questions. I'm curious, Zhe Shantong is senior sister's true successor in Dao technique, so why did she use this identity to protect you? Senior sister isn't exactly easy to get along with. What exactly is your relationship? Li Wei met her rippling, jade-like gaze, sensing a misunderstanding. Did she think he was Yu Yaozi's male consort? Actually, it's because I was the one who cared for the Grand Palace Master during her time of hardship. Li Wei answered truthfully, eager to steer the conversation away from the topic. He quickly added, I heard the Mist Heavenly Sovereign slaughtered a large number of transcendent dead spirits under Lord Lan's command. Did the Third Palace Master refine them into transcendent soul essence? Siqi has consumed quite a bit. Liang Shanyu mentioned he's cultivating using the Holy Spiritual King's psychic power star. Huo Zheng said he eats transcendent flesh daily, which contains undiminished law secret energy. He can't even finish it all, and his cultivation improves every moment. Third Palace Master, my relationship with the Mist Heavenly Sovereign is actually better than the Grand Palace Master's. Since she slaughtered so many transcendent beings, she'll surely share some with me. As a major contributor to the Battle of Lingxiao City, Li Wei certainly had the right to make such a request. After all, the Azure Phoenix, Purple Phoenix, Mountain Lord's Calamity, Four Extremes Ape King, and other transcendent demons were among the Demon King's strongest elites, recently fallen and brimming with potent secret energy and vigorous blood qi. By consuming their flesh and marrow, Zhe Shantong could cultivate the immortal body. Meanwhile, Li Wei had been hoarding the flesh of the six-colored peacock and Luo Pingdan's great rooster-like treasures. Looking back now, it seemed almost miserly. Securing a batch of top-tier transcendent flesh to share with the Zhu tribe's martial mystic cultivators would be a matter of great prestige. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 127, 668 Five-Colored Mountain. 127th of Volume 6. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The fragrance within Phoenix Terrace Hall was unique, possessing a sweet and intoxicating quality that seemed to emanate directly from the Third Palace Master's delicate form, draped in iridescent robes. The Third Palace Master was well aware of Li Wei's connection to Zhenhai Guanwu. Why else would she have entrusted her senior sister, afflicted by the Six Thoughts Divine Mind Curse, to his care? This was an extraordinary level of trust. Her gaze scrutinized Li Wei, brimming with curiosity. What exactly is your background? She asked, did you come from the outside world with Mist Master and Li Yuange? Li Wei's heart skipped a beat. If the Third Palace Master could deduce this, what about the others? Regaining his composure, he immediately countered, Third Palace Master, please don't change the subject. You know better than anyone how much the Zhu hidden sect and I contributed to the battle at Lingxiao City. Our members rushed to Lingxiao City, facing death without hesitation, all to help the Imperial Court weather this crisis. We suffered terrible losses. Many Hidden Ones and Hidden One elders perished at the hands of the enemy, their bones left to wither in nameless graves. We acknowledge your sacrifices and will compensate you accordingly. Seeing Li Wei change the subject and avoid answering directly, the Third Palace Master already knew the answer. She held the Lingxiao Palace's Heaven-grade realm pouch concealed within her sleeve. Raising her jade-like arm, she channeled spiritual qi into the pouch, causing spatial ripples and a powerful gust of wind to erupt from her sleeve. Whoosh! Her sleeve billowed like a colorful cloud, releasing a five-colored radiance. The dense martial mystic qi forced Li Wei to retreat several steps. Li Wei withstood the spatial fluctuations, his gaze fixed ahead. As the five-colored radiance enveloped him, he felt a gentle force nurturing his entire being, muscles, bones, internal organs, blood, and soul spirit. Before him, a five-colored miniature mountain flew from the Third Palace Master's sleeve, suspended within the spatial ripples. Dozens of meters tall, it resembled a lotus flower with five jagged peaks, its irregular shape and composition of exotic rock radiating an extraordinary aura. What is this? Li Wei murmured, recognizing the mountain's exceptional nature. Its imposing presence felt like a transcendent being standing before him, its secret energy radiating a profound power that seemed to connect to the very source of Taoist methods. Do you know the Four Extremes Ape King? The Third Palace Master asked. Li Wei replied, one of the four great demon kings of the Lingxiao realm, and the Lord of Heavenly Cliff Ridge in the Southern Territory. The Four Extremes Ape King has only cultivated for 1600 years, yet his cultivation has reached a level that transcendents who have cultivated for thousands of years can only dream of. The reason lies in this five-colored mountain, which rests atop his head and allows him to harness the five elements' power of heaven and earth. The Third Palace Master's voice carried a hint of awe. If the Four Extremes Ape King were allowed to cultivate for a few more centuries, she felt she might even be surpassed. Li Wei immediately understood the true value of the five-colored mountain. A genius might not necessarily become a powerhouse, but a powerhouse is invariably a genius. Most transcendents who have lived for thousands of years were likely the cream of the crop in their youth, yet the Four Extremes Ape King had surpassed them in an astonishingly short time. The third palace master gazed reluctantly at the mountain shimmering within the spatial ripples, her brow furrowing as she asked, "Are you truly not the Mist Master's descendant? Or, perhaps senior sister has taken a liking to you? Otherwise, why would she instruct me to entrust this to you? Never mind, I suppose you wouldn't dare admit it anyway. Open the ancestral field." Li Weiyi's gaze was completely fixed on the five-colored mountain, his heart pounding with excitement. This windfall far exceeded his wildest expectations. Completely ignoring the third palace master's wild speculations, he immediately opened the ancestral field and absorbed the five-colored mountain into it. The ancestral field trembled violently, and Li Weiyi shuddered, his legs buckling slightly as an overwhelming weight pressed down on him. His spiritual qi felt suppressed, making it exceptionally difficult to circulate. Ha ha. The third palace master laughed, her body shaking like a blossoming branch. Now you see that obtaining top-tier transcendental treasures isn't so easy, is it? Take the four extremes Ape King's other shore heavenly core and study it well. Your senior sister probably believes you're suited for cultivating the Tao of the five elements and is helping you establish your Tao foundation. Xuanhuan. Li Weiyi caught the other shore heavenly core as it flew toward him. It felt incredibly heavy and burned like fire in his hand, its interior radiating pure, dense demonic qi like a contained ocean of energy. Another top-tier treasure that even transcendence would covet. Xuanhuan, tall and heroic in stature, strode into the hall from outside, clad in moon-white soft armor. She bowed deeply. "Master, what are your orders?" "Take your divine hidden one to the inner treasury and retrieve the four extremes Ape King's flesh and blood," the third palace master said with a smile. Thump. Xuanhuan's face drained of color in an instant, turning as pale as paper. Terrified, she prostrated herself on the ground. Li Weiyi quickly regained his composure. He summoned the myriad manifestation staff spear to support his swaying body and devised a countermeasure. If the third palace master intended to punish you, she wouldn't have waited until now. Our Zhuli hidden sect has rendered great service to Lingxiao Palace. Have you forgotten how brutally the 12th elder died? You were closest to the 12th elder, weren't you? Yes. Xuanhuan dared not rise, her face pressed against the floor. With her true identity exposed, a simple punishment would hardly suffice. Those in positions of power detest nothing more than being deceived. It's a humiliating sense of being manipulated and kept in the dark. How could the third palace master not be furious to discover that her own disciple was a hidden one from the Zhuli hidden sect? Li Weiyi added, "The third palace master must have known your true identity all along. Why are you so nervous? Li Weiyi, you truly are a divine hidden one who fiercely protects his own." The third palace master rose, stretched languidly, and strode away to continue researching and arranging the space teleportation formation. Li Weiyi exhaled deeply. Facing a powerhouse whose cultivation realm far surpassed theirs, he knew that if she truly lost her temper, she would transform into a terrifying, man-eating beast, utterly unlike her usual approachable demeanor. Xuanhuan helped the impossibly heavy Li Weiyi out of Qilin Terrace Hall and toward the inner treasury. Is it really that dramatic? You're Li Weiyi, a immortal realm martial mystic cultivator, do you really need help walking? Zhe Shantong sidled up, scrutinizing Li Weiyi's legs with a suspicious glint in his eyes. Get lost. Li Weiyi snapped, knowing Zhe Shantong was just making wild guesses. As you wish, junior brother, Zhe Shantong replied. Although the cosmic pouch and ancestral field could store items, the weight remained. By circulating spiritual qi, one could maintain a normal body weight, as if lifting objects with clouds or using techniques to lighten oneself. But once the weight exceeded a certain threshold, it would overwhelm the user, leaving them in Li Weiyi's current state, like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. The inner treasury and national treasury were the Lingxiao Palace's repositories for resources and wealth. These spatial artifacts, forged by Zhenhai Guanwu, were far more sophisticated than cosmic pouches, inscribed with formations and scriptures to reduce weight. As long as the true classics within the Divine Martial Tower remained intact, and the resources within the inner treasury and national treasury remained secure, the Lingxiao Palace could be swiftly rebuilt to its former glory. The four extremes Ape King had been beheaded by Zhenhai Guanwu's sword on the Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane. His headless body had been preserved in massive, mountain-sized blocks of blue ice, each piece stored deep within the inner treasury's vast space. Every part of a demon king's body was a treasure. Storing the remains of a slain demon king could serve as the foundation of a sector clan's legacy. The four extremes Ape King's body must be at least 200 to 300 meters tall. How much does this thing weigh? Li Weiyi stood beneath the towering ice mountain, shaking his head in disbelief. He instructed the Xuanhuan to summon immortal realm martial mystic cultivators from the Zhuli clan for transport, adding, with me here, the third palace master won't harm you. Don't worry. Now go. After the Xuanhuan departed, Li Weiyi sat cross-legged and turned his inner gaze to the five-colored mountain nestled within his ancestral field. Even channeling all his spiritual chi could barely budge it. Looks like I'll need to find an opportunity to store it within the Dao Ancestors Tai Chi fish. My current cultivation level can't handle this. The Zhu clan's encampment nestled within a valley carved with numerous cave abodes into the cliff faces, a place of serene beauty and vibrant life. A spiritual spring stream, several dozen feet wide, flowed through the gorge. This had been the demon race cultivators' base of operations just over half a year ago. The flesh and blood of the four extremes Ape King were being continuously transported back and stored in Earth-grade realm pouches. Li Songgu, overseeing the further division and processing, nearly split his face with his grin, fully aware of the immense value of this resource. The Zhu clan's martial mystic cultivators were all deeply shaken and immersed in fervent excitement. Li province was not far from Heavenly Cliff Ridge, and they frequently interacted with the demon cultivators there. The four extremes Ape King's demonic offspring and grandchildren had always swaggered through Zhu City, flaunting their power. When the four extremes Ape King himself traveled, his demon cloud stretched for hundreds of miles, blotting out the sky and earth, causing birds and beasts to tremble in terror. To the martial mystic cultivators of Li province, he was no different from a god or demon, far more terrifying than Shu Fodu or Yang Shenjing. Yet today, thanks to the divine Hidden One, they would have the rare opportunity to feast on the flesh of this divine demon. Hidden 24 and Li Ling had somehow acquired a massive bronze cauldron, standing over 30 feet tall. After cutting off hundreds of pounds of Demon King flesh and cleaning it thoroughly, they had set it up on a flat clearing at the valley entrance to begin cooking. The steam rising from the cauldron shimmered with faint, five-colored hues. It was clear that even a single sip of the broth would significantly enhance one's physical body. Li Wei entered a cave abode and activated its formation. He then stored the five-colored mountain within his blood-mud space, instantly relieving the oppressive sensation of carrying a massive boulder in his stomach. Can I manipulate the five elements' power of heaven and earth? Standing beneath the 30-foot-tall five-colored mountain, Li Wei carefully examined it, tapping and probing its surface. He then channeled spiritual chi from his palm into the mountain. As his internal spiritual chi dwindled, the five-colored mountain finally stirred, emitting a faint, shimmering glow. Yet no five elements power manifested. What exactly is five elements power? Is my cultivation too weak to access it? Silent One, do you know what's going on? Li Wei withdrew his spiritual chi and posed the question aloud. As expected, there was no response. He then retrieved the other shore heavenly core, which was many times heavier than an iron ball. The third palace master had already refined it, erasing the willpower and soul spirit of the four extremes Ape King. Li Wei examined it closely. The core was densely inscribed with scripture, radiating an intensely potent five-colored demonic chi. With such concentrated demonic chi, can it be absorbed directly? Cautiously, Li Wei drew a wisp of the five-colored demonic chi into the Laogong acupoint in his palm. He then circulated it along his meridian veins, guiding it toward his ancestral field. With a thunderous roar, his body's spiritual chi erupted into chaos, surging uncontrollably. The Demon King Heavenly Core is clearly not meant for direct absorption and refinement, Li Wei realized, his expression darkening slightly. He dared not absorb a second wisp. After a moment's thought, he released the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors. Holding the Demon King Heavenly Core, he moved it near each of their mouths in turn, instructing them to absorb only small amounts. After all, the insect race was also a type of demon race. The 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors swarmed around the core, greedily devouring its essence. What a treasure. My body's spiritual chi is boiling. Just one more bite, Boss Li, just one more. Fourth Phoenix exclaimed, savoring the lingering sensation. But the brief, ethereal bliss had vanished as quickly as it came, leaving her craving more. After absorbing and refining the core, Second Phoenix analyzed, if we could keep absorbing these, it would be like consuming a millennium essence herb. Boss Li, why didn't you bring out this treasure sooner? Give me another bite. Can I just hold the whole thing in my mouth and absorb it all at once? Fifth Phoenix asked, walking on her 2 claws to stand before Li Wei, her large eyes looking up at him. If I put it in your mouth, would you even be able to spit it out? Li Wei glared at her and slapped her to the ground. As time passed and seeing that they seemed largely unaffected, Li Wei retrieved the Demon King Heavenly Core again and allowed them to absorb more. Simultaneously, he released his psychic power to probe their internal conditions. It wasn't until Li Ling arrived outside the cave abode to inform him that the 4 extremes Demon King's flesh had finished cooking that Li Wei withdrew from the blood-mud space. He walked with Li Ling toward the valley entrance, suddenly asking, do you want to meet my 2 senior sisters? There's no need, Li Ling replied coolly, their transcendence. Why would they care about me? I need to reach at least the level of a great holy spiritual master to earn their recognition, just like you have now. Compared to before, she had matured considerably, becoming more composed and steady. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 128, 669, 3000 years old, yet unwavering in ambition. 128th of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Li Wei and Li Ling followed the crystal-clear spiritual river to the mouth of the valley. Li Songgu had extinguished the spiritual light flame, leaving only the crackling firewood beneath the cauldron. Inside the cauldron, a thick, multicolored broth bubbled and simmered, its intoxicating aroma drawing saliva from their mouths. Yao Qingshan, who had been wandering Chun City all day, returned as if on cue. Just as the cauldron's lid was lifted, she descended on a cloud of spiritual qi, her timing impeccable. The first piece goes to the divine hidden one, Li Songgu declared, he's the one who tracked down the third palace master. Without him, none of us would have tasted this. The demon king's meat was served one piece at a time, requiring no seasoning. Li Wei, already salivating so much he nearly swallowed his tongue, shouted, let's eat. And immediately began carving with his dagger. Eating had always been one of the most important things in his life, second only to cultivation. Li Songgu, seated at the head of the table, maintained his dignified composure as clan head. After reciting a poem, he took a bite, nodded in satisfaction, and exclaimed, this meat is full of physical qi. Truly a treasure. It's a bit tough, though, Li Ling mumbled, her cheeks puffed out like steamed buns as she chewed thoughtfully. Li Songgu stroked his beard. After living for 1600 years, what do you expect? Who says it's tough? This meat is amazing. Li Wei insisted, genuinely impressed by the four extremes Ape King's meat. It had a satisfying chewiness and an unparalleled flavor. Moreover, consuming the flesh of a demon king could enhance one's physical body strength. Strengthening one's physical body enhances resilience when contending for the immortal shackle. Whoosh. Nangong's white-robed figure descended at the valley in trance, her melodious voice ringing out, Holy Commander, the Grand Palace Master awaits you at the Ancestral Mountain of the Void Ruins Ancient Clan. You must go immediately. The Zhu tribe members stirred, their eyes filled with envy. Even transcendent beings struggled to meet figures like the Third Palace Master and Grand Palace Master, yet the Divine Hidden One was being summoned repeatedly. Such favor would have made him a legend in the Lingxiao life realm, even the governor would likely bow first upon meeting him. Want to try some Demon King meat? Li Wei called out enthusiastically. Nangong didn't approach. No need. The Grand Palace Master said it's urgent. Li Wei set down his bowl, chopsticks, and dagger. He had been planning to ask Yu Yaozi about the five-colored mountains usage anyway. He instructed Hidden 24 to pack a jar of Demon King meat and broth into a food container, then hurried off with Nangong. Such formidable vital energy. I wonder who she is. Li Songgu murmured, unable to discern Nangong's features through the holy radiance of light. He was deeply shaken. Since arriving in Chun City, he had encountered several unfathomably powerful individuals, all remarkably young. That's great immortal, likely the holy maiden of the Void Ruins Ancient Clan, the one the immortal realm martial mystic cultivators in the Holy Hall life realm keep mentioning. I'm done eating. Yao Qingshan declared, her dark eyes gleaming with ambition as she rose and strode into the valley, her competitive spirit fully ignited. The shock she had experienced in Chun City far surpassed Li Songgu's. Ancestral Mountain of the Void Ruins Ancient Clan. Li Wei entered the hall alone to meet Yu Yaozi. It was late at night, but the hall was brightly lit by candles. The hall was utterly silent. Yu Yaozi stood alone in the center of the hall, her jade-like face framed by flowing black hair, lost in deep thought. The lingering aura of transcendent killing intent from her daytime slaughter of bone spirits still clung to her, radiating an overwhelming presence like that of an empress whose every gesture could shatter heaven and earth. Hearing footsteps, Yu Yaozi glanced sideways at Li Wei, who entered carrying a food box, his mood visibly buoyant. Your carefree days are numbered, she warned, cherish this fleeting ease while it lasts. Does the Grand Palace Master refer to the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition? Li Wei asked. He placed the food box on the spiritwood table at the hall's center, opened it, and retrieved a bowl and spoon. He carved off a piece of ape meat, ladled out steaming broth, and filled the bowl with fragrant warmth. Yu Yaozi seemed unaccustomed to such casual behavior from a junior in her presence. She shifted her gaze to the side, looking out the window at the moonlit mountains. Whether it's Lingxiao Palace, the Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom, or the Holy Hall life realm, none of us truly needed to participate in this conflict. But the forces gathering in the nether realm of the dead grow stronger by the day. Armies of dead spirits surge in from every direction like a rising tide, while Yu Baxian remains determined to seize the life spring, willing to defy the world to force the Void Ruins Ancient Clan into submission. Yu Baxian has long understood the existence of the life spring and is convinced it's in the hands of the Void Ruins Ancient Clan. He hasn't descended in his true form to directly attack the Void Ruins ancient clan because his blood chi is severely depleted. In his current state, he might barely survive for a few more decades. But each time he acts, he risks shortening his lifespan to just a few years, or even less. If he were to breach the Void Ruins ancient clan without finding the life spring, he wouldn't get a second chance. In short, he can't afford to gamble on that 1 in 10,000 chance. So it's a stalemate. That makes sense. Retreating would mean utter annihilation for either side. Meanwhile, the army of the dead is delighted to see the human clan tearing itself apart. Once they seize the Holy Hall Life Realm, they can sweep through the entire 100 realms of life domain with overwhelming momentum. Faced with the mortal terror of Eubaxian, retreat is simply impossible. Haven't eaten in a while. How about a bite to ease the pressure? Li Wei invited Yuer. Yu Yaozi, of course, wasn't Yuer. She glanced at the 2 bowls of meat broth on the table, and memories flickered through her mind. Finally, suppressing her emotions, she said, "You eat." This palace master can sustain herself by absorbing the heaven-earth spiritual chi and the essence of the sun and moon. Li Wei didn't press the matter and began eating, listening to Yu Yaozi continue her explanation. After hearing her out, Li Wei fell into deep thought, his expression serious. So the Grand Palace Master is betting the life spring on me. To be honest, in a one-on-one fight, I fear no 9th generation Immortal Realm expert. But the Demon Kingdom's Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators will undoubtedly outnumber us. For the life spring, they'll swarm as 10 to 1, even 100 to 1. They'll form battle formations, use poison, curses, and forbidden techniques, they'll stop at nothing. Eubaxian will promise them the most lavish rewards and threaten them with the most terrifying punishments. This isn't something one person can handle. Even great immortal cultivators in the 6th or 7th immortal realms would likely retreat. Li Wei wasn't blindly confident, he knew every immortal realm martial mystic cultivator was a formidable opponent. Yu Yaozi said, in reality, the situation will be 10 times more dangerous than you imagine. You'll face every conceivable scheme and trap. Eubaxian wouldn't have made such a promise without absolute certainty of success. Moreover, it's not just about 9th generation immortals. My calculations show the Demon Kingdom can manipulate the situation to force you into conflict with 8th generation Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators, even 7th generation Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators. Li Wei didn't doubt Yu Yaozi's words. After all, this conflict had already dragged on for 3 years, and the Demon Kingdom would undoubtedly resort to any means necessary if they sensed things were going awry. Yu Yaozi's warning was, in essence, offering him a chance to withdraw. Scared? She asked, if you fight this battle for me, I'll fight one for you in the future. Win together, celebrate together. Lose together, bear the consequences together. In the flickering candlelight, her exquisite face, now illuminated, now shadowed, revealed her thoughts reaching far beyond the present moment. Li Wei set down his spoon. Grand Palace Master, you stand on a higher plane than I do, allowing you to see much further. May I ask why you're so certain you'll fight a battle for me in the future? There must be a reason. Revealing it now would alter the entire situation, Yu Yaozi replied, just remember this, our target in this 3-year conflict isn't merely the Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom, the Holy Hall Life Realm, or the Rainforest Habitat. You have your battles to fight, and I have my own battles to wage at my level. Li Wei asked, I have one last doubt. Will Eubaxian go back on his word after 3 years? Absolutely. But as long as he swears an oath to the human sovereign to be slain by all, do you think the Mist Master and I would spare him? Do you think the human sovereign wouldn't want to quickly stabilize the chaos in the Demon Kingdom to prevent the Nether Realm of the Dead from exploiting the situation? At our level, we need a credible reason to act. Otherwise, we'll face a repeat of the past, when the human sovereign collectively intervened to stop the Mist Master from hunting Eubaxian. This time, they won't. They might even help us, sharing in the spoils. Eubaxian understands this perfectly, which is why he has no choice but to win, Yu Yaozi explained. I understand now. Repelling the army of the dead is paramount. Li Wei declared, very well. If the Grand Palace Master, at 3,000 years old, still retains her lofty ambitions, how can I, a young man, shrink back and lose my fighting spirit? A smile that could topple nations bloomed on Yu Yaozi's ice-sculpted, peerless face. I almost forgot to mention, besides the life spring, there's also the life-preserving spring. Eubaxian's terms are this, if the Void Ruins ancient clan puts the life spring up as a wager, the Demon Kingdom will immediately grant passage to reinforcements from all living realms and deploy a large number of transcendent and immortal realm martial mystic cultivators to join the fight, regardless of the outcome 3 years from now. Furthermore, the Demon Kingdom will also wager the scepter of the Void Ruins Empress. This artifact can command the primordial power of time and was lost in the battle 20,000 years ago. The clan chief has agreed. Over the past century, the Void Ruins ancient clan has used the Nether domain to cultivate a vast number of Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators. They are brimming with confidence. Li Wei nodded slightly, already imagining the brutal intensity of the coming conflict. I have a question, Grand Palace Master. Could you perhaps shed some light on it? Ask. Is it a matter of cultivation? Yu Yaozi replied. Li Wei shook his head, his curiosity piqued. Exactly how many male consorts does the third palace master have? Others may not know, but you must. Yu Yaozi's usually serene eyes flickered with surprise for a moment. A faint blush rose on her snow-white cheeks as she turned a stern gaze toward Li Wei. You've only reached the immortal realm and lived for a few decades. How many female confidants have you already accumulated? What business is it of yours? Don't ever bring this up again. Li Wei and Yu Yaozi, whose robes fluttered like those of an immortal maiden, left Ancestral Mountain and materialized in a desolate plain 3,000 miles away, a vast expanse of hundreds of miles without a single soul in sight. Boom. The Tao Ancestors' Tai Chi fish shimmered, sending spatial ripples outward. The five-colored mountain soared from the blood-mud space and crashed heavily to the ground. Li Wei then channeled his spiritual qi into the mountain. Time ticked by, minute by minute. Whoosh. The five elements' power of heaven and earth converged ceaselessly. Weeds on the ground sprouted wildly, moisture condensed into rain, and the five-colored mountain radiated a metallic sheen, followed by a layer of fiery light. The surrounding landscape transformed into a kaleidoscope of vibrant hues. Li Wei retreated 3 steps, letting out a soft exclamation. It wasn't like this in the blood-mud space. Activating it there produced no such changes. Yu Yaozi seemed to have realized something profoundly shocking. There's only one explanation. The blood-mud space exists outside the 5 elements. This is utterly inconceivable. Even immortal realm martial mystic cultivators cannot transcend the 5 elements. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 129, 670, The 5 Elements Heavenly Pill. 129th of Volume 6. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. All things exist within the 5 elements. The 5 elements are not merely material substances, they are 5 ceaselessly flowing laws and arcane powers. To transcend the 5 elements is to stand apart from the very laws themselves. For Yu Yaozi, who was already deeply immersed in studying the laws, witnessing such an anomaly was nothing short of astonishing. Entering the blood-mud space, she personally activated the 5-colored mountain. Whoosh! The 5-colored mountain erupted in dazzling radiance, its splendor otherworldly and mystical. Just as Li Wei had described, no 5 elements' power converged upon it. Yu Yaozi ceased her activation and entered a meditative posture within the blood-mud space. A ripple spread outward from the pale mark between her brows. Psychic radiance surged forth, enveloping the entire space in glazed radiance as it probed deep beneath the surface. Li Wei waited quietly nearby, then closed his eyes to meditate, meticulously sensing the glazed radiance. Such close proximity to a psychic master whose psychic power rivaled that of an emperor psychic master was an invaluable opportunity for any psychic master. His spiritual consciousness felt enveloped in a warm, nurturing spring. The 3 souls within his spiritual consciousness sensed the glazed radiance pressing in from all directions. He meticulously analyzed each strand, seeking to comprehend the power beyond the 3rd realm of the holy spiritual master. After a long while, Yu Yaozi withdrew the glazed radiance from the blood-mud space into her brow. Her beautiful eyes opened after a long silence. It's indeed more extraordinary than I imagined. But it doesn't necessarily mean it has transcended the 5 elements. It could simply be that the 5-colored mountain's 5 elements power can't shake the blood-mud space's own 5 elements power. Whoosh! Leaving the blood-mud space, the 2 returned to the desolate plains under the night sky. The stars still shone brightly, and the horizon began to lighten with the first hint of dawn. Yu Yaozi glanced at the 2 fish-eye-like marks on Li Wei's chest, then gazed up at the starry sky, pondering the true nature of the blood-mud space. She murmured to herself, the 12 dispersed hands of the Chan sect likely originated from Taoism. They're not merely Tao techniques and martial mystic techniques, but 12 bridges that connect to the laws, channeling the 12 acquired celestial immortal Tao powers of the universe. In Yingzhou, such martial mystic techniques are called fundamental martial mystic techniques. Fundamental martial mystic techniques are more difficult to cultivate than Tao techniques. They often lack systematic training methods, requiring practitioners to achieve enlightenment through self-discovery. Martial mystic cultivators must invest immense effort, pursuing uncertain results. Snow Sword Tang Court's Immortal Slaughtering Divine Snow 14 Swords is also a fundamental martial mystic technique, but it's only a single bridge. Unlike you, who cultivates 12 bridges simultaneously, and these 12 bridges seem capable of unifying into one. I know you've studied the Earthly Tome, Book of Radiant Stars, Dragon Codex, Nine Heavens Secret Treasury, 8 Trigrams Supreme Profound Scripture, and over a dozen Taoist and Buddhist true scriptures and classics within the Divine Martial Tower. It's too chaotic. Absorbing the Dragon Soul Source Light allowed you to rapidly comprehend a vast number of scriptures within the lower 3 realms of the Immortal Realm, accelerating your cultivation progress. However, reaching the 4th Immortal Realm should be your limit. Continuing deeper along the Dragon Clan's path, I fear, would lead you astray. Since you cultivate the Taoist sect's fundamental martial mystic techniques, specializing in the Zhuoqiu sect's 8 trigrams supreme profound scripture, you could unify the myriad chaotic scriptures within your immortal golden core using the 8 trigrams scripture, forging an 8 trigrams heavenly core. This is one path. You might be able to borrow the true scripture of the 8 trigrams supreme profound scripture, but this cultivation path would be very slow. The other path is to forge a 5 elements heavenly core. First, the 4 extremes Ape King's other shore heavenly core can serve as the 5 elements true scripture. Second, by utilizing the 5-colored mountain, your comprehension of the 5 elements scripture will accelerate dramatically. Just as the 4 extremes Ape King directly fused the 5-colored mountain with his skull, constantly comprehending the Tao, you could traverse a path that would normally take 2 or 3,000 years in just 1 millennium. Between these 2 paths, the latter might allow you to reach the other shore realm in half the time of the former. Within a century, you could aspire to become a transcendent. Li Wei gazed up at the vast starry sky, his hair swaying in the gentle breeze. His features were sharply defined and handsome, his eyes radiating pride. I'm currently at the early 3rd Immortal Realm. Do you mean it will still take a century to progress further? I heard the Rice Palace's true disciple from the last 60-year cycle has already reached the transcendent realm. Li Wei trusted Yu Yaozi's martial mystic techniques expertise and judgment, but his inner pride fueled an unyielding spirit. Do you think he only cultivated in the great immortal realm for one 60-year cycle? Why did various factions in the Void Ruins ancient kingdom collect time stones? What happened to the dozens of nether spirit divine trees that once thrived there 20,000 years ago? What you're using is merely residual mist. Yu Yaozi continued, everyone's circumstances differ, naturally affecting their cultivation speed. Zhe Shantong benefits from his sun-moon dual pupils, Nangong from the light spring, while reincarnated ones and reborn living spirits possess insights from past lives, allowing them to cultivate far faster than you. Consider Ji Yu Junxiang compared to the Truth Emperor, Bai Yi Qinglian compared to the Three Lives Buddha, Zhang Ning compared to the Rice Mother, and even the Coffin Mountain's Forbidden One, Li Yueng, and the Mist Master, they all belong to this category. Without their heaven-defying opportunities for enlightenment or the achievements of past lives, you can't hope to match their cultivation speed through sheer effort alone. Yet you possess the Time Cocoon, the Tao Ancestors Tai Chi Fish, unparalleled comprehension, and the 10th Spring Divine Gate. Even if you can't cultivate within them continuously, the world will undoubtedly witness you reaching the other shore realm within 20 years. 20 years. I doubt you'll need even that long. After a moment's thought, she added, setting aside all fortuitous encounters, treasures, past lives, and future destinies, relying solely on your own strength and surveying the entire world, Tang Wanzhou is the only one who can barely keep up with you. By all rights, she should have been the Lingxiao realm's life realm mandate, yet you, an outsider, have overshadowed her. I'm only barely keeping up with her myself, Li Wei chuckled, how could I have overshadowed her? He continued, now, there's a very troublesome problem. Once I participate in the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition, I won't be able to easily summon the Tao Ancestors Tai Chi Fish. But the 5-colored mountain is so incredibly heavy that it can only be stored in the blood mud space. Don't you have the evil camel bell? Jade Yaozi asked, it's a supreme artifact that can greatly alleviate the 5-colored mountain's weight. But it's Yu Tuonan's supreme artifact. Li Wei slowly turned his head, his gaze meeting Yu Yaozi's eyes. His voice trailed off. In this battle, can I openly use the evil camel bell? The 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition does have many prohibited items, but supreme artifacts aren't among them, Yu Yaozi replied, if you dare bring a supreme artifact, countless Immortal Ascension beings will risk their lives to seize it. Benefit lies within harm, and harm within benefit, such is the nature of yin and yang, fortune and misfortune. By the time they returned to the Void Ruins ancient clan's ancestral mountain, dawn had fully broken. The Void Ruins ancient clan patriarch summoned Li Wei, gave him brief instructions, and then departed with Yu Yaozi and the others for the front lines to defend against the army of the dead. The previous night, all the immortal ascension beings of the Void Ruins ancient clan had been summoned back. The patriarch informed them of the Spring of Life's contest, explained the stakes, and announced rewards and punishments. The subsequent arrangements, resource allocation, and strategic deployments were handled by the elders. As Yu Yaozi's Dao technique successor, Li Wei participated in the gathering of the younger generation to discuss countermeasures. The leaders present included, Nangong, the Void Ruins ancient clan leader, Nangong Yu, the Holy Hall leader, Lu Yi, representing the rainforest living realm, and the true disciples of the three great ancient sects, Xiao Yu, Su Yuyan, and Yun Sheng. The remaining immortal realm martial mystic cultivators stood around the seven leaders, each a formidable powerhouse capable of holding their own. Their eyes gleamed with wisdom, their chi surged with immense power, and their numbers were vast. Some were handsome and dashing, others possessed ethereal beauty, while others were aberrant humanoids or middle-aged in appearance. Nearly half of the martial mystic cultivators wore masks. Such a formidable assembly, if it appeared in the Lingxiao realm, would cause a cataclysmic upheaval. Nangong Yu was the seventh-generation descendant of the Holy Hall's Holy Master, possessing cultivation at the peak of the third immortal realm. He appeared to be 17 or 18 years old, with crimson lips, pearly white teeth, and wore crimson brocade robes adorned with jade pendants at his waist. To rally morale, he stood up and addressed the crowd, his gaze sweeping across them. Below the transcendence, there are 9 generations of immortal ascension beings. The first 3 generations compete for wealth, the middle 3 for the Tao, and the final 3 for life itself. What they call the 10-day immortal ascension competition is actually a struggle for all, to cross the river of life, to reach the other shore, and to transcend oneself. In the middle and final 3 generations, our Holy Hall's life realm indeed lags far behind the Demon Kingdom. To call it, striking a stone with an egg, would be no exaggeration. However, in the past century, we have harnessed the nether domain to cultivate a vast number of powerhouses at the level of the first 3 generations of immortal ascension beings. In the clashes between the first 3 generations, victory is far from certain. If the Demon Kingdom seeks to dominate us, they will pay a catastrophic price. A thunderous roar of approval erupted from the crowd, shaking the entire mountain range. Each generation has its own trials and tribulations, its own struggles and triumphs, separated by the currents of time. Territorial disputes and treasure conflicts are typically resolved by the first 3 generations of immortal ascension beings during the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition. These are the 9th generation Immortal Ascendants, 8th generation Immortal Cultivators, and 7th generation Immortal Ascendants, collectively known as the Wealth Contending generation. For the middle 3 generations, the most pressing task is to break through to the other shore, bolstering the human race's transcendent level combat power. Therefore, they compete in fallen immortal realms or secret realms with unique laws, prioritizing cultivation above all else, earning them the title of Tao Contending generation. The 3rd generation members were all advanced in age, and those who hadn't yet broken through to the other shore needed to seek life-extending treasures while also striving to slay as many dead spirits as possible within their limited lifespans. Thus, they often ventured into the nether realm of the dead, an extremely perilous domain known as life contending. Even in life contending, the ultimate goal remained reaching the other shore. The Clear Void sect, rooted in Taoism and with ties to the Calamity Crossing Temple, imbued Xiao Yu with the transcendent aura of a Taoist disciple. He declared, whether the life-preserving spring and spring of life fall into the hands of our 9th generation immortal ascendants or not, we must be fully prepared. The most pressing question now is, where should we establish the battlefield? This is our greatest advantage, and we must exploit it fully. As long as the Demon Kingdom seeks to seize the 2 spring, we can lead them by the nose. A immortal realm martial mystic cultivator suggested, naturally, we should lure them to the Holy Hall's life realm. We are intimately familiar with the terrain here, allowing us to hide and strike at will. The sect can provide us with spiritual crystals and medicinal pills at any time, maximizing our advantages. Nangong Yu offered a different perspective. We should definitely establish the battlefield outside the Great Wall Formation, in that newly illuminated contested zone. I've scouted the area, it's likely the size of several provinces. If we don't claim it, the Demon Kingdom will consider it their territory, posing a constant threat to the Holy Hall's life realm in the future. The entire morning was consumed by heated debates and discussions, with too many factions each holding their own distinct opinions. Every individual present possessed extraordinary talents, immense power, and a strong sense of autonomy, each convinced that their own judgment was the only correct one. At noon, Li Wei, Nangong, and Lu Yi gathered privately in an octagonal pavilion perched on the edge of a cliff. Around the green pavilion, bare tree branches sprouted tender new buds. Birds chirped and darted through the sunlit air, signaling the arrival of early spring. Nangong, his jade-like face, as beautiful as a painted maiden's, turned toward Li Wei. It was inevitable that the Grand Palace Mistress would entrust you with the jade tome representing the life spring. I'm certain the jade tome representing the life-preserving spring will ultimately fall into the hands of the Void Ruins ancient clan 9th generation ascendants. But it will be done with utmost secrecy, leaving no trace. Only the one who obtains the tome will know. Though the Void Ruins ancient clan has cultivated many 8th generation and 7th generation Immortal Ascension experts, they deliberately concealed their strength and didn't participate in the Immortal ranking for the first 2 60-year cycles. Now, challenging the old rankings and entering the fray would be too rushed. Lu Yi said solemnly, in my opinion, they'll still challenge the rankings, as a smokescreen to divert the Demon Kingdom's attention. The 3 nodded in agreement. Nangong, well aware of Li Weiyi's exceptional intellect, asked, during the earlier discussions about choosing a battlefield, the Holy Commander remained silent. Do you have any insights to share? Li Weiyi smiled and shook his head. I'm simply unfamiliar with the rules of the Immortal Ascension competition, the dynamics of the 100 realms of the living, and the environment of the Holy Hall's life realm. I didn't dare speak rashly. Clearly, I still have much to learn. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.